You that you can only become successful when you give up who you were supposed to be? What if I told you that the biggest obstacle between you and the life you want is very, very rarely a lack of talent, a lack of money, or a lack of discipline? It is about loyalty. No, not loyalty to your family and not loyalty to your friends. Loyalty to an identity that was handed to you before you even chose it. I recently heard a wonderful podcast by Alex Hormozi, and he said something that stopped me in my tracks. You can only become successful when you give up someone's version of who you were supposed to be. That was a light bulb moment. The more I thought about it, the more I realized he wasn't just talking about business. He was talking about identity. I want to talk about the script that you never wrote. None of us arrive in adulthood as a blank slate. Long before we decide who we are, someone else starts writing the script. Oh, you the clever one. You the quiet one. You the responsible one. You the funny one. Don't be too loud. Don't take risks. People like us don't do things like that. And most of us, we never question these labels. We wear them for years, sometimes for decades. And here's the strange part. Here's the sad part. We mistake them for our personality. But what if they were never your personality? What if they were simply roles you learned to play because they kept you accepted? Now let's talk about when identity becomes a cage. Think about it. Imagine a little girl who's praised for always being sensible. She never causes trouble. She never asks for too much. She's rewarded for being agreeable. Everyone says she's so mature for her age. Everyone says she's easy to deal with. That little girl, she learns something early. Being liked is safer than being honest. So fast forward 40 years. She wants to start a YouTube channel. She has ideas. She has experience. She has something worth saying. But every time she sits down to film, she freezes. Every time she presses publish, she feels sick to her stomach. She tells herself she's afraid of being judged. Maybe she is. But maybe that's not the whole story. Maybe she's not just afraid of criticism. Maybe she thinks she's about to betray the identity she's protected her entire life. The quiet girl is becoming visible. The agreeable girl is becoming opinionated. The sensible girl is taking risks. To everyone else, she's just uploading a video. But to her subconscious, she's becoming someone completely different. And that's terrifying. Now, this is where a lot of people get stuck. Because we often think success is about learning new skills, how to invest, how to build a business, how to become more productive, how to maximize your day, how to grow on YouTube, how to sell, how to market. But in many cases, success is actually an act of subtraction. You don't just add confidence. No, you subtract, you remove, you erase the need for approval. You don't just add courage. You remove, you subtract, you erase the fear of disappointing people. You don't just build a business. You dismantle an identity that allows you to become a business person. And that's why I believe so many people stay stuck. Not because they can't change. It's because changing has consequences. You've got to subtract, delete, erase parts of yourself. And if you've always been the reliable employee, well then, becoming an entrepreneur feels like betrayal. If you have always been the people pleaser, well then setting boundaries feels selfish. If you've always been the perfectionist, then launching something that might be slightly imperfect feels like failure. If you've always been the nice one, then speaking your mind feels dangerous. If you've always been the smart one, starting something where you might look stupid feels unbearable. And if you've always been the lawyer, then becoming a YouTuber can feel almost absurd. Because now you're not just changing careers, you're changing the story people have about you. You are saying to the world, I know that's what I was supposed to be, but it's not who I want to be anymore. And that's a much harder sentence to live than people realize. Because imagine someone who spent years and years becoming a lawyer. They worked hard. They studied. They passed the exams. They got the job. From the outside, it looks like success. It smells like success. But inside, they are miserable. They dread Monday mornings. They feel drained. They know deep down they want to create videos, they want to build an audience, and they want to speak to people online. But then the thought creeps in. I'm a lawyer. And suddenly that identity, that label, I'm a lawyer, becomes a prison. Because now they're not just asking, what do I want? They are asking, what will people think if I stop being the lawyer? What will my parents say? What will my colleagues say? What if I leave this job and fail? What if I leave and succeed, but succeed in a way that makes no sense to the people who knew me as a lawyer? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the real fear, not failure. Disapproval. Let that sink in. We are not afraid of failure. We are afraid of disapproval, the loss of the old identity. And that's why so many people stay in lives they secretly hate. Not because they are weak, but because the known feels safer than the unknown. Being part of the tribe, being accepted, is safe. Now, here's something fascinating about the brain. The brain doesn't care whether you are successful. The brain cares about whether you are safe. And from the brain's perspective, familiar is safe. Even if familiar makes you miserable, it's still safe. And that's why people stay in jobs they hate. People stay in relationships they have outgrown. They remain in cities they no longer belong in. They live lives they secretly don't want. Not because they're lazy, but because the identity that they have built around those lives feels more stable, feels safer than the uncertainty of change. The irony of it all is that the version of you that everyone recognizes may be the very version stopping you from becoming who you are truly capable of being. Think about the person who says, I've always been the shy one, or I'm just not a business person, or I'm not the creative type, or I could never be on camera, or I'm a lawyer, not a YouTuber. Those statements, they sound like facts, don't they? But often, they are not facts. They are just old agreements. Why do I say agreements? Well, agreements you made with the family, I'll be the good one. Agreements I made with teachers, I'll be the responsible one. Agreements made with culture, I won't rock the boat. Agreements made with fear. And the problem with agreements is that they have a sell-by date. But unfortunately, sometimes they can outlive the life they were designed for. Now, I want to be very clear here. This doesn't mean blaming your parents. It does not mean rejecting your upbringing. Most people who shaped you were doing the best they could with what they knew. The issue isn't that they gave you an identity. The issue is that you never stopped along the way in life to ask, does that identity still fit? At some point in life, every person faces the same question. Am I living my own story? Or am I still acting in someone else's? Because the people who transform their lives are not necessarily the smartest or the luckiest. They are often the ones who wake up one day and decide that they are willing to disappoint an old version of themselves. They are willing to break those agreements. They're willing to cast off clothes that no longer fit them. They are the ones who say, I know this is what I was supposed to do, but it's not what I want to do. I know this is what people expected from me, but I'm done, honey. I'm done living for expectation. I know this identity made me safe, but it also made me small. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's the real cost of growth. Not money, not time, identity. The old version of you has to end before the new one has room to exist. Are you ready to lovingly bury, or lovingly let that old identity go off into the sunset? And that's why growth often feels like grief. You are not just building something new. You are mourning, you are burying someone, the old you who kept you safe, even if they also kept you small. And that's why leaving a stable career can feel so emotionally heavy. That's why starting a channel on YouTube can feel so exposing. That's why changing direction can feel like you letting people down. Because I suppose in a strange way, you are. But you are also releasing the version of you that was built like Lego blocks, brick by brick, built to please everyone else. And let me tell you, that version will fight to survive. It will tell you, be realistic. Don't embarrass yourself. YouTube channel, don't be ridiculous. Who do you think you are? You are too old to start. You're a lawyer. You've already invested too much. You're not a creator. You are not a YouTuber. But just remember, those thoughts are not the truth. They are resistance. Yes, they are. They are the voice. They are the soldiers. They are the army of an identity that knows it's being replaced. So maybe the question isn't, what do I need to do to become successful? Maybe it's quite simply, who do I need to stop being? Because success doesn't begin when you become more. It begins when you let go, when you discard, when you stop living as the person you were told to be. And that, I feel, is the real breakthrough. Not becoming someone new, but becoming yourself. Becoming the person you truly want to be. If you enjoyed this, please do take a moment to like and subscribe and join us in the comments.